Okay, so right now I want to talk to you about strategies when it comes to traffic, right? Please make sure that you understand this to the degree that you understand what I'm about to talk to you about in this lesson right here. Okay? Will you be able to get traffic and, more importantly, multiply traffic? Because really what we want to do is we want to get traffic, we want to be able to manage traffic, and then multiply traffic, right? So we want one visitor to equals 5 visitors, one sale to bring 3 more sales, systematically, predictably, right? And there is a way for us to do that. So let's talk about some strategies here, my friend. And these are the strategies that I think, I know it will, it can change the landscaping of your business, of your company, certainly give you an edge over everybody else when you understand them, right? There is a difference between advertising, marketing, and selling. Do you know that? A lot of people think, well, what's the difference between marketing and advertising? They're confused, right? Confused mind is confused. That's bottom line, right? You don't want to be confused when it comes to marketing, when it comes to business, when it comes to selling, when it comes to closing, getting your product out there. You want to be a sniper-like. You don't want to be like everybody else out there, right? So let's talk about that stuff right now. Let me see if I can bring up this definition. Maybe we can pop them on the screen. So what I've done is I said, you know what? Instead of me telling you this, why don't I have dictionary tell us, all right, the difference between what advertising is, what marketing is, and what selling is. Because there are 3 distinct, very, very distinct things. And we need to treat each one of these pillars, okay, individually, separately, and each one of these individual pillars, right, advertising, marketing, and selling, has its own, methodologies and strategies and methods and ways to mastering each one of these, right? So we need to make sure that we understand this. So according to dictionary here, check this out, right? Advertising is a means of communication with the users of a product or service. Okay? Means of communication with the users of product or service. Right? Keep that in mind. Now, what is the meaning of marketing? Right? A lot of people think it's the same. In my book, this is not the same. I know this might sound a little controversial, especially in the marketing world and in the guru space or whatever. I'm telling you my, view on this kind of stuff. Okay? Because this is how I view it, and this is how I approach traffic and conversions, and it works for me. It works for a lot of our clients, and hopefully it's going to work for you as well, right? Well, you're one of our clients right now, one of our students. So check this out. According to dictionary, marketing, definition of marketing is this, okay? All right, the activity, okay, and processes of creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Okay? Now, and selling, and if we take a look at the definition of selling, selling basically means this: give or hand over something in exchange for money. Pretty basic, right? So if I got this pen right here, I want to sell you this pen. I've got to do something in the advertising space to first get your attention, right? And then I got to do something in the marketing space to be able to communicate with you about this in a way that will make you want to buy it. And here's what I want. I want the selling part to be effortless. I don't want to work too hard on trying to convince you or close you or chase you down, or be all over you like, hey, buy this thing, buy this pen, buy. No. That's not how I want to approach this thing. You get me? This is completely polar opposite of what everybody else is teaching out there. Everybody else is going to be like, follow up until they die or until they buy. Right? Not me. I don't want that. Do you like somebody chasing you around, trying to sell their stuff to you? No, I don't like it. You don't like it. However, we all want to buy stuff, right? I want to buy an expensive latest iPhone. Why? Because I want it. Not because somebody wants to sell it to me. Because I want it, right? Somebody wants to buy an expensive pen and pay $1,000. I know there's pens that sell for, a couple thousand, few $1,000s, and people gladly pay that kind of money for that pen? Hey, because they want it. So our challenge here, right? Our mission, rather, is this. How do we engineer our promotions, our traffic and conversions, right? So that the selling part, right? Sales, marketing, advertising, so that the sales part is effortless, right? In order for us to engineer the effortless selling part, I call it sell without selling. There is a way for you to sell without selling. And again, I promise you, all the dots will be connected when you look backwards after you have gone through this training. So that's why if you're just going through this, just kind of watch it, let your mind observe, and just pay attention to those aha moments. Let me know what you think about this stuff. If there's a way for you to communicate with me, I would love to hear about, your thoughts on some of these things that I'm sharing with you. So we want effortless selling. So in order for that to happen, we need to make sure that we understand marketing and advertising, right? So let me go back to my thingy here. Hang on one sec. And so we're gonna talk about. I want to share with you. I want to present this to you in a way that will make sense, right? There is two kinds of traffic. There's two kinds of traffic, and we need to understand them both. Okay. There is what's called an external traffic. An external traffic has three levels. I'm about to show you this, and I want to dive into the game plan here before we are done with this particular module. We're going to talk about the whole big view game plan, okay? But it's very important for you to understand. A visitor is not the same for everything. Like some people think, visitor is a visitor, and it's not, okay? There is external traffic, and then there is internal traffic. So what I want, the whole methodology of the Internet Traffic Academy and what I have been doing for our company, for everything that we do here, it surrounds this idea that there is two kinds of traffic, right? External and internal, and we want to get, manage, and multiply. Okay, so all of these connect. Let me explain to you. Over the years, I have been developing and perfecting a blueprint for traffic generation. Right? My mentor early on, he said, Vic, if you master two things in business, you can write your check. Doesn't matter what company, what industry, what product, what service you're selling, provided it's a good thing that you're selling, right? It makes a difference for people. And people want it, there's demand for it. But provided that's handled, right? If you understand traffic and conversions, you can write your ticket in life. And that's exactly what happened to me. Okay? So over the last well over 10 years now, right? Ever since I made a conscious decision to become the best at traffic and conversions, and I bought every single training, every single course. I went to every single seminar I could get my hands on. I went to the meetings. I joined masterminds, and I paid $25,000, $50,000 a year to just be in the presence of the so-called gurus and just kind of, be a fly on the wall, if you will, and listen to what they're talking about as it, relates to traffic and business and selling and marketing and all these things, right? Because I wanted to be the best at it. And this is a little side note for you. If you want to be the best at something, you want to go to the best, right? And you want to pay the price. A lot of people are failing just because they're not willing to pay the price. Some people will want to pay, or some people just say, well, I can pay the price when I get the money. And it's just like going to a fire, a fireplace and saying, hey, give me some fire, give me some heat, and then I'm going to put some wood into you. That's messed up thinking, right? We're going to put some wood, do some work, and then we enjoy the fire and the warmth and everything that we want. Same thing here, right? So throughout the whole time, I was like taking a piece from here, a piece from here, a piece from here, and putting all those things to work, and kind of taking looking at what's working, what's not working. A lot of things didn't work. A lot of things, it was there were expensive lessons for me, but some things did work, right? And so as it relates to traffic, I kept paying attention to things that was working. And even though the algorithms kept changing, I remember I was running Google AdWords campaigns, and everything was going so good. I finally started to figure out this traffic thingy, converting those visitors into my little tribe, my list, and communicating with them, getting on a weekly teleconference. This was many years ago. And then I was paying like 15 cents or 20 cents per click from Google. It's pretty good, right? And then one morning I wake up and I check my stats, as all us marketers do a lot of times. I check my stats and I'm like, I went from paying 20 cents per click to like $10 per click. I'm like, no, hold on, there's something wrong with it, right? It can't be possible. Well, I experienced the effect of what's called a Google slap back in the day. And so they overnight wiped literally hundreds of thousands of advertisers off their platform just like that, literally overnight. They didn't care about the money that I was paying to them. I knew some friends that were paying millions of dollars to Google every single week running campaigns. They got wiped out. They got slapped, right? The Google slap. And so what happened is people that depended on Google, I was one of those guys, right? People that depended on Google, that wasn't my external traffic source. And I depended on them to send me traffic, right? It was pretty good when it was working. But when that Google slap happened, boom, I found myself, being thrown out of the airplane with no parachute. And it's not a good feeling. And back to square one. I was trying to figure out another thing. What's going to happen? And you've got panic, you got frustration, you've got oh my goodness, sales stop, you can't sustain your business, you can't make sales, it's a chaos, right? And so what happens is a lot of people are depending on external traffic sources. So external traffic source is where we go out there and we utilize what's available to us, right? And we siphon traffic off of those platforms. Right, so there's people hanging out on Google. They're going to Google search, and they're going to YouTube, and they're going to all these other places. A lot of them are potential customers, are perfect customers potentially, right? It is our job as entrepreneurs, as marketers specifically, right, to get really, really good at getting their attention. I call this advertising. Make sense? Advertising, in my book, is very, very simple. We're not going to complicate this thing. Advertising is when you go out there and you get attention. You cannot convert somebody into your list or your customer base or your tribe if you don't first get their attention. In the sea, right, of noise out there in the world, you're competing with CNN, you're competing with the latest news, you're competing with elections, you're competing with somebody is shooting somebody. You're competing with all these latest gadgets and things, launching every single day. And your potential customers are inundated with all that stuff. How do you go out there and simply get attention and immediately take that potential visitor or potential customer, take that visitor off of that platform, external platform. That's why I call it external traffic, right? You with me? Follow this, right? External, because you don't control it. It's external. How do I siphon that person from that platform and get into my internal world? Make sense? So advertising, and once they're in my internal world, that's when marketing begins in my book. And so what I want to do is again, we talked about, in the last lesson, we talked about, rules of traffic. Rule number one is never waste a visitor. So that becomes, they go from a visitor to now they become a visitor on my page, and they just came to my front door of my business, of my campaign, of whatever it is I'm promoting, right? My structure. So it is my job not to waste any of those visitors, not to waste the traffic. So we're either going to retarget them, or we're gonna get them to opt into our list, so that we can start the marketing process to them. Okay. Now sometimes you might visit a site, and if it's like an impulse buy or whatever, I want to buy this pen. I go to, Amazon or something like that, and I can buy a pen. Transactional. There's no marketing needed for that, right? I just go, and I know where to go. Boom, I buy it, I'm out, I'm done. I could care less about that vendor. I could care less about the company that sold me that. I just got my product. Right? That happens sometimes. But if I want to build a business around that, I want to be the Amazon. I want to be the place where people come to get what they're looking for, value, right? I want to be that platform. Now, once I'm on Amazon, they do marketing to me, don't they? Hey, here's another product. Here's a similar product. Here, check this out. You're about to check this out. Hey, people that bought this also bought that. You getting the point here? So what happens is Amazon's each customer value, okay, is through the roof, but each customer acquisition is almost nothing because of their ecosystem. What you and I are going to do is we're going to talk about building your own Amazon-like ecosystem. Okay, Amazon calls their own ecosystem the flywheel effect, the flywheel system, right? I call what we do data aggregation system. Whatever you want to call it, for you, bottom line is we need to operate like the biggest brands and biggest companies operate. Why? Because it's proven path, and very few people do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you the difference between between marketing and advertising. And then if we do the advertising and marketing properly, advertising is easy. It's easy, right? It's just running campaigns, cold traffic, getting them into your door. The marketing part is where the magic happens. To the degree that we get really, really good at marketing internally, right, will we get sales effortlessly? Make sense? So external traffic is advertising. Internal traffic is marketing. Let me show this to you on a little blueprint here. Okay, so this is a blueprint that I was telling you about, that I was developing, my traffic blueprint. So with everything that's available in the traffic world, right? All these platforms popping left and right, and everybody's like sheep running to the next hottest thing. It's TikTok or the next, jibbity-da, whatever the next thing is going to be. Who knows, right? Here is my strategy. I want to use them. I want to leverage them. I want to siphon traffic off of them because that's where people are going, right? But I want to focus on building my internal traffic source. Why? Because it's going to become the well of fresh water that I can have on demand, right? If I want to tap into it, boom, I can go there and I can tap on demand, and it's free, okay? So external, let me show you. At the end of the day, it comes down to 3 levels for external traffic, okay? Level number 1, as you can see here on this diagram, and this is not the most fanciest graphic here. This is something I created. In the resources section here of this lesson, you can download the actual blueprint, and you'll be able to just print it out, laminate it, for you, just hang it next to your computer so you can reference to it often, right? So you can do that in the reference or the resources area. Now, let me just kind of briefly walk you through this, because for the rest of this particular pillar of internet traffic mastery, okay, again, this is where we're talking about getting traffic. This is the get part, right? We're going to focus on these levels. So level 1 is what's called fast results traffic, okay? We start with level 1 always, and then if that works for our campaign, for what it is that we're promoting, for how we're accumulating that traffic and that list and all that stuff, if that works, then we're going to expand outward, and we're going to go to level 2. All right, and level 2 is called strategic scale. And then if that works, we go for domination, right? We're going to dominate this thing. We're going to dominate your space. We're going to dominate your marketplace, and we're just going to go and just go bananas, right? We're going to be everywhere. But there is a very specific ways for you to do that. So what am I talking about when I say level 1 traffic? Level 1 traffic, and by the way, if you notice here on this diagram, this blue box, right, is retargeting. So every single visitor that I get to my landing page, regardless if they opt in or not, right, I'm going to retarget them. So in the next lesson here, I'm going to show you a bigger, broader kind of a game plan for that includes traffic and conversion strategies. So we're going to talk about that. But right now, just kind of let this, let your subconscious mind catch these ideas, because it knows what to do with it, right? So check this out. Level 1, we are talking about, for me, at least right now, right? There's 5 specific traffic sources or traffic avenues that I'm going to go to implement, to deploy, okay? I'm going to deploy 5 specific strategies for level 1. This is fast traffic. So what am I talking about in fast traffic? This is where I can go and literally command traffic on demand today. If I wanted to get 100 visitors today, I deploy level 1 traffic sources or traffic strategies, and I can get traffic today. I don't have to wait for it. I don't have to build it out. I don't have to, wait 3 months for me to see results. I can literally see it on demand. That's why it's called fast results traffic, right? And number 1 is influencer media. Okay, we're going to talk about this. So for the rest here, starting probably in the next module, we're going to start talking about each one of these individually. And then for the rest of Internet Traffic Mastery, we're going to talk about each one of these individually. Number one is influencer traffic media. Okay, this is where I'm going to go and deploy and tap into other people's audiences very creatively, very strategically, very inexpensively too. Okay, it's going to get me traffic flow right away. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Number two, and by the way, speaking of influencer media, I'm not referring to just one particular network. I'm not referring to just Instagram. Hey, today it might be Instagram, although it's dying out, right? Tomorrow it might be TikTok. The next day it might be something else. Who knows? Who cares? I'm not attached to the platform. I'm attached to the strategy. You get me? Right? So whatever the platform is that allows influencers to shine, that is the place I'm going to go. Okay? So it's never platform dependent, it's ideas. And one idea, my friend, can make you wealthy. One idea can keep you broke too, if you don't implement it, right? So influencer media, we're going to talk about that. Another one is this thing called 24-hour traffic. These are the different networks I can tap into to get traffic on demand, fast traffic, right? Social media, okay? Again, it can be Facebook, it can be LinkedIn, it can be whatever else that's hot, that's relevant for whenever you're watching this and whenever you're learning this, right? But again, I'm going to explain this to you and teach you this in a way that will be timeless. If there is no Facebook tomorrow, this stuff would still be relevant because we're not going to be attached to a platform, but rather to the outcome. Okay, so social media, it's completely differently how most people use it. I'm going to teach you that. Number four is display media. We're talking about Google networks. There's a lot of display networks that we can go to. It's hot because everybody they're going to the next hottest trend or whatever. A lot of these people are abandoning things that worked, and there's still people on it. There's still tons of people on it. So the cost to acquire those visitors from these abandoned networks or traffic avenues, right, is going to almost nothing. So we're gonna tap into that inventory, and we're gonna monetize it. And then number five is pay-per-click. Okay, so we're talking about pay-per-click off of social media, pay-per-click off of Google networks, right? So we're gonna talk about that stuff as well. Okay, so these are results, fast results traffic, and this is level one. It's gonna get you traffic on demand anytime you want. So again, we're gonna tap into each one of these as we progress. This gives you an idea, right? So then if that stuff works, is as I'm getting traffic to my landing page or whenever I'm getting this traffic to, right? If I'm converting, if these audience convert into leads and hopefully sales, okay, even though I might be converting at 1 or 2% or whatever, before I even started to put them through my traffic machine, which is a long-term vision, like we talked about in the last session, right? The last lesson. If that is working, I'm going to start scaling. So I'm gonna go into level 2, which is strategic scale, and we're not gonna, completely restart everything from the beginning. See, I'm gonna start with just one, right? So let's say I start with influencer media. I do not go to pay-per-click and influencer media and display and social and try to get my head around all of these avenues together simultaneously because I'm gonna go crazy. I don't want you to go crazy. Just start with one, right? So then you're gonna add another one, another one, another one. It might take you a little bit of time, but so what you're doing is you're creating yourself a traffic machine. It'll be unlimited traffic system that you're really creating here. So then when we go expand, we already take what's working here and we're going to layer something on top of it, right? And it's called CPA traffic media or traffic media X, which I'm gonna talk to you about. And then if that works, then we go to a third level, right? It's like, have you ever driven a stick shift manual transmission vehicle, right? I have. I know Europeans, if you're in Europe probably, or anywhere else besides USA, you probably are very familiar with what I'm talking about here. So what happens if you put in the first gear and you go so fast before you have to shift down, right? Otherwise your engine is gonna blow up, your transmission is gonna blow up. So what happens is you shift down, right? You go to the second gear, your car goes faster, but your engine works not as hard anymore. Right? Eventually you get to fifth gear or whatever, and then you go really, really fast, but your engine is not killing itself, right? You're not really raving, your RPMs are not so high that it's ridiculous. It makes sense? So same thing in business. We want to go faster, we want to get more traffic, but we don't want to work as hard as we did on day one. Okay, so we create a system around it. Okay, so when we're talking about domination, provided level 1, level 2 works, and we're happy with results, we go to domination, and this is where we create systems around what's already working, right? Perpetual traffic machine, syndicate traffic, ultimate traffic media. And so what happens here is this right here, our first level and second level, these two levels right here are external traffic strategies. Because all of these, we are depending on something that's outside of ourselves, right, to send us traffic. Now, we are being strategic because we never depend on anything that's one. We never depend on just Facebook or just Google or just a particular influencer. We're being dynamic. However, we understand that we never ever want to be in the mercy of something or somebody, right? So we use that. It's called external traffic. We siphon it, and this is level 1 and level 2. Level 3, okay, right here. It's going to make more sense as we progress further into the program too. So domination level 3, this is where we shift into the second gear, my friend. This is where you're going to go. I mean, you can literally, when you go to level 3 of traffic generation, this is where your business can go from generating $10,000 in revenue, you know, give it in a month or a week or a day or a year, what doesn't matter, right? Let's say you go from 10,000 and you go to 100,000, just like that, right? You have more fun, you have more results, 10 times the results for less work, okay? Because we're starting to tap into internal traffic sources, okay, through the domination. And also what happens here is level 3, as I'm going to teach you progressively here throughout the rest of the program, domination is got to do a lot with this second component here in the formula, as you can see. And this part is the manage part, okay? So we got get traffic externally, then we go into the manage part of it. We're going to get traffic, manage, and then multiply, remember? Right? So the manage part of it, this is where we're going to be, become a specialist in, right? Specialist. Medical community. Who makes more money? A generalist or a specialist? A family doctor, right? Or a heart surgeon or a neurosurgeon. You are going to be the neurosurgeon-like in your space, right? Just a metaphoric example here for you, but you get the point, right? When you get great at being able to manage traffic that you're getting, your cost to acquire that traffic initially is going to drop like a rock, okay? So what we're talking about here is we're talking about obviously building your list, and we're talking about developing your hub, as already mentioned. We're talking about retargeting, and all these three things working synergistically together in a very specific way, okay, creates magic. And so that's the manage part. And then as that is working out for us, okay, then what happens here is throughout this whole process, we focus on data aggregation, okay? By the way, the manage part produces effortless sales, okay? So the marketing, if you go back to what I was just talking about a few minutes ago, we've got external traffic, which is your advertising, okay? This is level 1, level 2. We siphon traffic, right? Then we get into our world, the manage part. This becomes our internal traffic. So we turn external advertising to internal traffic. This is where our marketing begins. Why? Because once they're in our world, okay, it is our job to keep them there and to outcool our competition, outsmart our competition. Is to be cooler to that particular subscriber or that particular visitor that just visited our house. Imagine this, if you have a house, right, and you have a guest coming to your house. Well, how would your guest feel when they come into your house? Well, first of all, hopefully you have a nice looking house, right? If you have like some kind of a shack that nobody cares about, right, and you're inviting people to your shack, nobody's gonna care about that, right? So you need to have a really nice house. Metaphorically speaking, this is your presence, this is your place on the internet, right? It's gotta be looking good, man. It's gotta be like nice. It's gotta be well taken care of. It's gotta be attractive. It's gotta be, it's got to get attention out there. It's got to be a place where people will be like, hey, that looks good. I want to check it out. I want to check out what's inside of that thing, right? You see what I'm saying? Read between the lines of what I'm telling you right now. Now, once somebody comes into your house, your hospitality should be through the roof, right? You should, hey, somebody comes in, hey, welcome home, welcome to my house, welcome to my place. Here's what we're all about, right? There's a sense of energy. There's a sense of something that people can't smell, taste, see, or touch, but they just feel, right? Something about you. It's called your brand, right? It's called your brand because immediately we're gonna start planting those seeds of domination for sales, etc., etc. Everything matters here, right? We're not gonna leave anything to chance. Every little detail matters. So to the degree that we take care of that guest, okay, will they return back to us? Make sense? In your marketing world, in your business world, we need to be able to manage traffic in a way that outcools, it makes it so that we outcool our competition. Because if you have a subscriber to your list, right, they're not your subscriber. There is no such thing as my customer or my subscriber. No, forget about that. That's a myth. Okay? If somebody subscribed to your email, your newsletter, or even bought a product from you, guess what? They're probably subscribed to hundreds of other people's, lists, right? And they're getting bombarded. They're getting inundated with messages. Buy this, buy that. Here's the next thing. Here's the best. And so how do you stand out? Well, the way that you stand out is how you manage. Okay? So manage part is really, really important because we want to manage so that the sales are effortless for us. Make sense? And then through the process of us doing this and getting the sales, we're going to aggregate more data about this particular visitor so that effortlessly they will want to do more business with us. And just like Apple, I don't care if you're a fan of Apple or not, you got to give them this credit. They revolutionized the phone industry. They revolutionized the music industry. They revolutionized a lot of other things. And then other companies are copying that model because it works. It's called the ecosystem. Guess what? At 4%, we have one of the most incredible ecosystems in our space. In your business, you need to have a very powerful ecosystem so that your people will be happy to return to you, do business with you, buy more products from you, etc., etc., etc. You have yourself a unlimited traffic system. But not only traffic system, but traffic and sales system. Make sense? Okay, so let me know if your mind is racing, right? Let me know if you're like getting some ahas, some of the things that you're thinking about you could be doing for your business. But I don't expect you to become the master of this right away yet. Obviously, we're talking about 10,000 feet kind of an overview stuff here, right? We're gonna get in the micro. So we're talking about macro right now. We're gonna get into the micro and we're gonna talk about each one of these. We're gonna do that starting with the next lesson, but then more so starting with the next module where we're gonna start digging into each one of these strategies individually. I'll see you in the next lesson.